Welcome back to Flashpoint. This week, the North Carolina General Assembly looking to take up two big issues that have been debated for years: Medicaid expansion and sports betting. Both bipartisan measures likely to get the governor's stamp of approval. Joining us now, Democratic Representative Zach Hawkins from Durham. He is one of the main sponsors of the sports betting bill introduced in the House. Representative, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. This is one of those things that actually has some bipartisan support, and that's not always the case. Why do you think that this is a good idea for the state of North Carolina?
Well, one of the reasons that I think is important, and I actually had the opportunity to meet with a young man who didn't know that I was a legislator. He was telling me all about how he was participating. But he said, I wish I could do this legally in North Carolina. And that was a moment that I didn't ask for, but it was a light bulb moment that he needed the protections that bringing this into law in North Carolina, allowing legal sports betting to happen, that people need that and they want it. Consumer protections are absolutely important when you're talking about wagering. Secondly, we get the opportunity to bring in additional revenue. And anytime that we can, bring in additional revenue to the state and find creative ways to use it, we should take full advantage of it. There are so many states, about 25 or so states, that are participating. There's no reason for North Carolina to be sitting on the sidelines, especially when we're such a sports-rich state and a growing state, one of the fastest growing states in the country. One of the things that we also have included as a part of this effort is a major sports in entertainment attraction fund. NBA All-Star Weekend, big events that could come to some of our larger venues. We need to make sure that we're setting ourselves up properly to have incentives for them to come so that we can help cities and counties in our state look at making North Carolina not only a great place to live, but really a great place to come to for sporting events which helps tourism.
You brought it up. I want to drill down a little bit more about what the money would be used for. I think there's a 14% tax on the revenue made. So that's substantial money. What is that going to be going to? What is it going to be used for now?
Yeah, good question. So the first, as I mentioned before, the attractions fund. I want to make sure that we can bring large events to North Carolina, especially again at some of our major venues. Secondly, we'll have about $10,000 to go to every single county to support youth programs, youth sports. We know that we know what youth sports means in small towns across the state, and the ability for them to use it for facilities upgrades and equipment is huge. It's a lot of money to you spend a lot of money raising resources for helmets and shoulder pads and field upgrades, and we want to make sure that we can help. Lastly, one of the things that I think is most important is that we're going to have the opportunity to spend these resources to help some of our smaller universities, our HBCUs, and some of our MSIs, as well as UNC Asheville, smaller programs that have issues with travel budgets. It costs a lot right now. UNC Asheville was just in the big dance in March Madness, and their sports program had to come up with resources to have them travel. The same thing with our historically black colleges and universities. And so this fund would give them about $300,000 to begin with, and then as revenue grows, a percentage, we will rise with percentages, and that's huge. So as we become a mature market, eventually, those schools can continue to benefit, and it takes a load off of those programs.
And even though it does have broad support on both sides of the aisle, it's not without its detractors. What do you say to those folks who talk about the societal problem that comes along with sometimes sports betting?
Well, the first thing is that people are already doing it. And our job is to make sure that we take it from the dark and bring it into the light. Make it legal, give them consumer protections, and a state, of course, that is willing to look out for its best interest. And not to mention, these are trusted programs. Next, I would say that we have put about $2 million in, which is above and beyond what most states do, for gambling addiction and problems and programs. We have, had, really good conversations with the platforms about what they do to protect consumers and those who participate in sports betting. I would say that one other piece that's really, really important for us to think about is as the state grows, as people come into North Carolina, we don't want them going across the border to do this. We don't want them finding illegal ways to do this and not being able to get the returns that they suspect. And so bringing it again from the illegal market to the legal market is, I would say, the most important thing for us to keep in mind, protecting the consumer at all costs with things that are already happening all around the country.
One other thing there seems to be some agreement on is Medicaid expansion. I wanted to get your take on that quickly before we leave you. The Republicans, though, have put it in tied to the budget, which means it's not a done deal quite yet. Are you optimistic it will go through?
I'm very optimistic, and I would like to publicly thank both the Senate and House leadership for coming on board and being a part of this effort. We know that it will transform lives. 600,000 people will have access to affordable health insurance. And so Governor Cooper, since he came in office in 2017, has really beat this drum and has worked alongside leadership. And so I think that people now see the benefits because it will help someone in every single county. It will bring resources to North Carolina and jobs that are permanent jobs. And so we feel really good about it. That press conference that was held just recently sent an incredibly strong signal. And I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican or anyone else, that made you feel good about us rising above partisanship and taking care of people. And so I think it will be a glorious day for North Carolina when the bill gets to the governor's desk. It just passed through the Senate, and so we're almost home. But this has incredible bipartisan support, and it's something that, again, we should be proud of.
All right, Representative Zach Hawkins in Durham for us. Representative, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
More Flashpoint after this.